Live from Think Twice Radio. We're going live. It's the Buffalo Contrarian.
Hello.
Hello,
Thank you for having
Contrarians.
me.
We're in studio with I'm Matthew Austin. I have my new past credential, a City Hall beat reporter.
Love it.
Then we have our executive. I'll let you all introduce yourselves.
Editor-in-chief.
By default, Bill Jackson.
I'm Mike Jackson.
The founders.
And I am Courtney Francis Fallon. I am an artist and activist who's a guest this week. Thank you guys for having me.
Also honored to be joined by City of Buffalo Charter Review Commission member Peter Reese, who I would describe, you may not know, but I describe him as the contrarian member of the city's Charter Review Commission. So thank you for joining us, Commissioner Reese. Hopefully you can hear us. So yeah, I wanted to start with the Charter Revision Commission. Actually, it's actually kind of timely. Tomorrow, the city's Charter Review Commission is going to vote on changes to the city's charter, which is essentially the city's constitution. That was one of the lead stories in our summer edition. So Commissioner Reese has been on the panel the whole time, and I think, it's very timely. Actually, 3 hours ago, they finally posted, the local laws, which will be up for ballot referendum. So kind of concisely, it's a bunch of nonsense that they're proposing. There's essentially, I haven't really had time to read because I'm part of the violations they have is that actually the Charter Review Commission has not been very transparent. So really the major thing that they're kind of trying to push through is around Common Council vacancy. So when Byron Brown resigned his seat and we had acting mayor Chris Scanlon for several months and left the South District unrepresented, that was kind of the glitch in the charter that provoked this whole Charter Review Commission. So really one of the major things they're proposing is just a language around the acting mayor and making it so the Common Council can appoint a person to that seat. And then there's a bundle of a bunch of useless task force. So we have a task force being proposed via local law for an actual further study of electoral reform. We have acting officials, just essentially just a bundle of useless task forces. One of the things that might discuss is a new human rights task force. One of the things on the agenda for tomorrow, we're not sure, is a citizen police advisory board with no actual acting power. And Commissioner Reese, I don't know if you want to elaborate on what's been your experience on the city's Charter Review Commission.
Oh, we can't hear you. Can you hear us? Uh-oh. Hello, everybody wave. Hi.
So I think
We can't hear
but we'll try.
Hold on, I
There
got
we
it.
go,
There we go.
No, as I told the Common Council today, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay, as I told the Common Council today, this is the biggest boondoggle that I've seen in 82 years of living in Erie County. There's nothing that this commission did that the Common Council couldn't have done and should have done on its own. In fact, if you get to things like the council and councilmanic succession, there was pretty much a tacit agreement that we weren't even going to touch that because we were too busy with other priorities, and the Common Council could have and should have done that on their own. And that was the primary reason to have this commission. Then all of a sudden we showed up at one meeting and there was, a document laying not on the agenda, but in our packets. And it said, here's the succession thing. And it turns out it was written by County Attorney Jeremy Toth, who is part of, the Elmwood Village Democratic Club and the Democratic Machine. And I stopped it and put it off for a week or until the next meeting because I said, well, wait a minute. The Open Meetings Law says you got to have this available to the public 24 hours ahead of time. We're going to discuss this and whatever. So, it's just here for informational purposes. That's nonsense. They intended to ram it through that time, at that meeting.
Yeah, and it does seem to me.
That we didn't need a commission, an expensive commission, a waste of my time and other commissioners' time and the city's time to do nonsense like this.
Yeah, and the commission on tomorrow's agenda is an RFP, so a request for proposals for consultants to do community outreach. And it actually said that they sent out proposals on Friday, and I'm upset that they didn't send a an application to the Buffalo Contrarian, because I think we might want to participate in the
Well, I
community
think you
engagement.
guys should go to the front of the line.
Yeah. Well, we did. Part of our investigation was the bylaws of the Charter Review Commission required that each work group. So essentially, to tackle the task of the charter, they're broken into 6 different work groups, and each of those work groups was required in the bylaws, and they shall produce essentially work group reports or analysis of sections of the charter that need to be changes and ones that need to be left out. And even today, here we are a day before they vote. There's a August 3rd deadline to get language to the Board of Elections so that if we get 9 propositions, they can all make the ballot. But any sort of analysis has not been done, or is not to my. I've foiled. They sent me some minutes from a previous meeting, and one of the commissioners, Norvell Pendergrass, who's actually an attorney general for Erie County, and maybe we can get this to Commissioner Reese. The biggest thing that people wanted through this process, through community engagement, was electoral reforms. So things like ranked choice voting, decreasing the amount of signatures you need to actually get on the ballot, potentially even open primaries, which I know are controversial, but electoral reform was the biggest thing that people wanted. And yeah, I think Norvell Pendergrass, commissioner, she kind of just epitomizes the whole culture there. She just kept saying pre-clearance, any sort of roadblock, because if you want to do electoral reforms, there's some process with the state attorney general needs to review it. And then even Chair Larry Rubin, since he's been the commissioner, and Maria White, who's the deputy mayor, soon after the Ryan administration got in, appointed her. And my perception is just that, the administration, the powers that be, and even today when you were speaking in the Chambers, Commissioner Reese, why would the Common Council want to approve decreasing signatures when it just makes it likely that they're not going to run, or not be able to win their seats? So I'm hopeful that maybe this effort, maybe this failed, maybe it's not all failure. And Commissioner Reese, you didn't waste all your time, but maybe this will inspire some sort of citizen-led initiative to change the city charter, which is allowed under municipal home rule. And I think even some of the commissioners admitted that they want the citizens to initiate something, but that would take a lot of work and signatures. I don't think it's ever been done, but I think to your point of New York City has ranked choice voting in their primaries, and there's already precedent in New York State that if the city of Buffalo just copied and pasted the language from New York City to have ranked choice voting in primaries, that wouldn't be very challengeable. But there was just no appetite from any of the commissioners, to do really anything serious. And I think it's kind of an example of kind of an inside job, because a lot of people, I think we've heard, just went to this charter review thinking that things were going to change, or there was hope, and it ended up just an attempt, and there really was no serious discussion of any major reforms. And what we have here is just a bunch of useless task force that probably aren't even going to be sought to begin with.
Well, the task forces are nothing but an expensive kick the can down the road. And the task force on electoral reform, that's what I concentrated on today with respect to Common Council. That's going to cost us $250,000. And we already have a very well done legal memorandum from Holtzman Vogel, a recognized law firm, which frightens Maria White, by the way. She says they're the tip of the spear and the wolves in sheep's clothing, who are their primary purpose in life is to disenfranchise black people in the South, and and other nonsense hysteria, which is nothing but, argumentum ad hominem against a memo. But basically, it's a very well done legal memorandum, and it says we can do reduction of signatures, we can do ranked choice voting, no problem. Want to go into other things like open primaries, nonpartisan general elections, you've got grief with respect to the way New York State election law is currently put together. So this is a no-brainer. The job's already been done. This task force doesn't have anything to do for $250K of my money, I might add. You say, I'm an official taxpayer. Okay, you may not know that. Ellen, go get me my taxpayer hat. We're living in a city which is probably the poorest city in the country, where the current administration showed the courage to raise our taxes, or propose raising our taxes 26%. And somehow or other, we're going to save ourselves from, the debacle that we've been for the last 70 years because we're going to raise our taxes. And I can get into that more further, but the long and the short of it is, all we have to do is say, cut and paste, New York City, here it is, we want to do it. The Common Council can do that tomorrow. At their next meeting, I just saved the city of Buffalo and the taxpayers $250,000. And I want you to know you're welcome.
I think
you don't even have to say thank you to me.
All
right? This is just madness. And I have to vote against that because it's crazy.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's most disappointing here is there was a group of people that weren't council members, weren't the mayor, weren't the controller, that had actual legitimate power to put on the ballot for something for the city of Buffalo to vote on. So this actual commission under municipal home rule had power to propose changes to the charter. In fact, that's what they were supposed to do. Whereas this new task force, which they've created a law for this task force actually has no power under anything. They can just advise and study. I think that's what's disappointing is we actually had people in seats that could have done things, and even just from my observations reporting, a lot of the commissioners were very uninformed about. I don't think they read the charter.
You're going to be dealing with the same type of bozos appointed, who have no interest, who aren't going to show up, who aren't going to go to public hearings, who aren't going to engage, who aren't going to read the things that are before the commission. I mean, this is nonsense. This is ridiculous. Yeah. The only way we're going to be able to get any real change in the city of Buffalo is to have a citizens charter revision commission, which is going to require like 7,000 signatures on a petition naming people who actually are committed to some sort of reform. We have to shove this down their throats. And if you look at the history or the background of this, even that commission can be put off for a year by the mayor.
I don't even think it needs a commission. Can it just be a ballot
I'm not into
initiative?
AI, but all you have to do is Google and type in how can a mayor kill a charter revision commission? A mayor can legally preempt and co-opt a council charter revision commission, and it can delay a citizen charter revision commission. And the overall way that the mayor can try to kill these things off is by starving them. And that's what they did with respect to this one. It met 4 months after we were officially formed. We never had resources. We didn't have a room to meet. My back hurt. My Uncle Harry fell off a ladder. We had every excuse you could possibly imagine. And this was an unengaged group of commissioners. That's all there is to it.
And part of the
I was stupid enough to think that, maybe we could get something done here, but you can't. Now, and let me just add, I'm 82 years old. I only have so many seconds left that I'm going to live. And every second that I spent on this commission, and I am the only commissioner who attended every meeting, and I attended almost every public hearing, actually every official public hearing I attended, almost every single listening session I attended, and it didn't matter. It did, no one was listening. In fact, it actually makes me sick because I think this is cruel. I mean, people from the city of Buffalo, citizens, came in and poured their souls and their hearts out and said, well, this isn't working. The city isn't getting the job done. We have to have change, da-da-da-da-da. And most of what they were saying was just whining and complaining. And not that I don't mean to minimize that, but there was nothing that we could do about as a charter revision commission. I mean, if the government is bad, and is managed poorly and is not performing, unless you can relate that somehow or other to a change in the charter, there's nothing I can do for you. We didn't even have the decency to tell them we can't help you. This commission didn't educate itself, and it didn't educate the public. I mean, this was a boondoggle. This is in 82 years of being a resident of Erie County, this is the biggest boondoggle I've ever seen. It's been the biggest waste of effort. It's already spent $13,000, and apparently it intends now to spend another $34,000. And we can't tax and spend our way back to something rational. And just, if I may digress for a second, the city of Buffalo has been going to hell in a handbasket since right after World War II. Right after World War II, we had 600,000 people in the city and 1 million in Erie County. Fast forward today, we probably have 250,000 in the city. We still have 1 million in the county. You know what we did for the last 70 plus years? We sent everybody to the suburbs. That's what we did. And the city is like an invalid. It's the poorest city in the country. It's the most segregated city in the country. And we need radical change. Okay, we need to get the superhighways the hell out of the Olmsted Park system. We need radical changes in terms of housing availability. Oh, and by the way, there was a recent announcement. Benlick, which is the land bank for Buffalo, and they claim Niagara. It's in their name, but Niagara has nothing to do with it. Benlick just recently built some houses for $550,000 that they're going to sell for about $200,000 each. I mean, I wish we could do that and return to prosperity, but in what world do you think that makes any sense? This is just crazy talk, and it's crazy program. Yeah. And I guess, there's maybe 20 houses Well, 20 houses is not going to turn the east side around. Come on into Buffalo sometime and look at the east side. It's a desert. There's
Yeah.
nothing left.
Well,
I mean, you could have artillery practice on the east side of Buffalo.
Yeah.
We need radical change. We need a lot more than 4 deputy mayors making $200,000 a year and an expensive police commissioner and a mayor who thinks his job is raising flags and reopening closed down pizzerias and meeting with the ambassador from Belgium. Where are some thoughts? What's turning the city around? Other than a massive climate tragedy for the whole world, where people have to come back to Buffalo because it's too damn hot or there's no water where they are. There's nothing on the horizon that's going to turn Buffalo around. The canal doesn't work anymore. The seaway is open. We don't have anything coming.
I think
Hey,
that's
where's
what,
Elon Musk? And what's it? Solar City? No, that was only $1 billion. He never did anything. He paid for a couple $100 million worth of equipment that's in a junkyard in Pendleton now. Or not? Yeah, Pembroke. Excuse me.
So
I
sad.
mean,
Well,
we have to have something for real, and we got nothing.
That's why I think ultimately the legacy of this commission had the opportunity to radically reshape city government. I mean, one of the things they could have done was they could have eliminated the mayor and had a city manager thing. They could have done literally the text of the charter. Everything was up for play. So this commission actually had a chance to do.
I put that on the agenda just so that we could try to educate people. And there was one member that was done in a work group, and there was one member of the public there. Okay. And it was really done as a joke, and it was so insulting that the representative from the International City County Management Association just bowed out because it was 2 city managers from New York State, including Sam Arachi, who was a former deputy mayor in the city of Buffalo under Jimmy Griffin, and the city manager for the town of Elmira for a number of years. After he left the Griffin administration, or during the time he got religion and became a certified city county manager, which is about the equivalent of a master's degree. Okay? I mean, we had that. That just disappeared. That was laughed at, okay, quite frankly. And, people don't understand. We don't have to have a mayor. Who in the public ever showed up at a meeting, and was told, hey, we don't have to have a mayor. We could look at something different.
Yeah, I think there's radical opportunities, and unfortunately, like you're saying, I think a lot of the commissioners, they weren't. Yeah, and I applied to be on the commission. They actually had this process. That's part of how this cake was baked. They put up applications. Commissioner Reese didn't even apply. He just got picked. So a lot of these people didn't even apply. And you had, I think I saw the foil of, at least 50 people that put their applications in, like willing to do the work, excited to do the work. And I think you have the term the MOAs, or the Easter Island kind of figureheads of people that sit at the meetings, and a lot of them are confused. They don't seem to know what they're voting on. I don't think. I mean,
man, this is how half-assed this was done. I never applied. I thought about it, and I said, you're too old, forget about it. I didn't know I was a commissioner until I read about it in the Buffalo News.
Awesome.
Yeah, so
Okay, there were some good, qualified people. You didn't need an old goat like me. I don't even live in University District, okay? Think about it.
Well, we appreciate you, because I think as the Contrarian something that's covered, it does feel like we do have a Contrarian commissioner on the commission, someone that was a voice of reason throughout this whole process, and we appreciate you still showing up, even though you were kind of tricked into this thing that could change. But I appreciate from the coverage of you showing up, doing the work, and I feel like you are the Contrarian commissioner. I think that's a very fair way to describe you. But you've got a big vote tomorrow, so I don't want to keep you on too long, but you got to
listen, man. I'm very used through the years from fighting the Democratic Party as an outsider in the Democratic Party to getting beat about the head and face and body, and it just doesn't. This is standard operating procedure for me, and I'm not gonna go away if I'm in a job. But quite frankly, if I'd known how bad that this was going to turn out from day one, I would have said, forget it. I got better things to do. I'd rather weed the garden.
Yeah,
it'd be more productive.
Well, thank you for joining us, Commissioner Reese. And yeah, tomorrow your vote at 5 p.m. where actual proposals will be on the agenda. And we hope to, I'll be there, and we hope to thank you for your service to the citizens of Buffalo. Yeah, I think it's a perfect segue. Thank you, Commissioner Reese, to discussing the